Hey guys, this is Pablo with Meditation Amsterdam, and in today's video I want to share a thought that has been with me for almost as long as I can remember. And it is that nagging sense of wasting life, or seeing life pass you by, feel how it slips through your fingers whilst you remain unable to really do what you're supposed to do, or be who you're supposed to be, or obtain what you're supposed to obtain. Some sort of nagging sense that if nothing changes between now and the moment in which I'm taking my last breath in my deathbed or wherever that may be, I will feel incomplete, like the mission was not accomplished, like something was left unrealized. And it is a very unsettling thought, as a matter of fact. It's the one thing that, they describe as, oh, you don't want to get to your deathbed with regrets. It's kind of like that. But the trickiness of this sense is that it doesn't present you with a clear picture of what it is that you're missing, of what it is that you'll regret when you're in your deathbed. And despite what many YouTubers might give you as their best attempt at what you should be doing, such as, I don't know, killing it financially, or making sure that you succeed in your love life, or that you stay in shape and become a stoic who eats one meal a day, or whatever it may be, right? Would that really fulfill? Would that make you get to your deathbed knowing in your heart of hearts that you lived the life that you were supposed to live? In the movie The Dead Poets Society, Robin Williams says that you ought to suck the marrow out of life, and that should not be confused with choking on the bone. And I would argue that I've, for a long time, choked on the bone. I did pursue the financial success and obtained it to a relative degree. The romantic route, the physical sportsmanship, and all that kind of business. And it's all been good fun. Even the art experiment and even the spiritual experiment has all been really good fun and very edifying. But the doubt remained. And it's not only in the last few months or years of the self-realization path that I've started to discover, through a lot of reading and repetition and practice, that it is that what is missing is what you could describe and has been growing as a sense in which the moment is met in a way that makes you feel naked and completely unprotected towards it, totally vulnerable to the now, in a sense that with every in-breath you almost feel all your senses sort of washing through you, and as you exhale, your sense of self is merging into the now, and there's no mediation between the now and yourself. They are one and the same. And you come to realize that selfhood, or your sense of individual self, is that mediating factor which creates distance, with all its opinions and its memories and its expectations. And that in order to be naked to the moment, there cannot really be any judgmental opinion about it, for better or worse. It needs to be taken completely at face value. What that means, in essence, is very unsettling, because it means that in order for you to suck the marrow out of life, in order to be naked to the moment and in a non-dual merger with reality, you must kill all your mental crutches and all your darlings, all your opinions, your even your moral and virtuous mores. And this is super, super unsettling, because these are the things that give us a sense of structure, a sense of direction, and a sense of individual integrity and safety, if nothing else. So it's very unsettling to tackle these. And it is one of the reasons that in every spiritual tradition that you read about, there is a kind of sacrificial undertone to the whole thing. It is known that that which is most valuable to us needs to be sacrificed. And there are tales of people who sacrifice their finances, their family, everything they have. They're living in, with a loincloth and a begging bowl, and the guru will tell them it's still not enough. It's still not enough. You have not given up that which you treasure the most, which is your very self, your sense of self, made of constructed little boundaries and opinions that hold your sense of self in place. You can run the experiment and see if you have any treasured opinion or grudge. Whatever grudges we hold tend to be very treasured to us. That they reassure us of being correct, of being morally superior than the other, of caring more, or of being more altruistic, whatever the case may be. It makes you more and different from another. And relinquishing those opinions, the opinions upon which the grudge is based, it can be quite a difficult thing to do, a very liberating thing to do, but very, very difficult. We treasure these things in the sense of structure and validation that they give us. In other words, we define ourselves in comparison and by setting distance from another. It's a state of a lot of pain when we do this. These separations, or this dependence on the other to define ourselves, even if by contrast, as opposed to in a loving or needy kind of way, in a contentious kind of way, in the case of a grudge, are very, very painful. But they come with the payoff of, hey, I'm miserable, but at least I know I'm right, or at least I know that I can be safe in the knowledge that my morality is the superior one, or that my opinion, will land me in a good place. Things of that kind. Those are implicit little thoughts. As it happens, the sense that we're missing out on life is both correct and incorrect in that sense. We can't really miss out on life, because life and us are not two separate entities. We don't have a life, as Eckhart Tolle would say. We are life. So you can't really miss out on it. But you can indeed fail to fulfill the realization that you are one with life. That can happen, as a matter of fact. And you may as well call that missing out on life, right? And on a practical level, there's no experiential difference between a life with non-duality unfulfilled and a life that has been on some level actually missed. So whilst as a concept, as an idea, it can make you miserable and is not really true, just like every other concept and idea, it does point to an intuition about something that we are failing to realize, or not yet realizing as a truth, which is our oneness with life. And that pointing is valid, it is correct, and the sucking the marrow out of life is not pointing to any particular doing or achieving in the external world, nor is it pointing toward the doing or achieving of a particular state of mind. So it also doesn't talk about an achievement on the internal level. What it points to is, it points to the collapse of the subject-object relationship, so that we can realize our oneness with life. So the answer to that longing is not a mystery, and the way to get there is not a mystery either. And for one, I'm very, very happy to have found that out, because then your mind organizes itself around the pursuit of non-pursuing, you could say, right? Or the relinquishing of the pursuit, and rather the orientation towards the death of the opinion-making self and the separation-making self, so that oneness with life can be fully realized. And having had, as I said in my previous video, very clear and unmistakable tastes of what that is like, which happen more and more often as this process goes forward, I have a complete conviction that even if I don't fully realize, the nth degree Buddha level degree of non-duality in my deathbed, that the orientation is now fully correct. There is absolutely no doubt of that. Not an iota of doubt in my mind. It's a sense of certainty that is not mental, certainty that is not conceptual or opinion based, but rather an experiential knowing that being one with life feels like the most correct and real and wholesome thing that one can inhabit as a space. Now, I can only convey that with words, and one of the big reasons for me to keep making these videos and creating this channel is because it would be very unfair and silly and potentially cruel for me to expect anyone to take my word for this being the case. So that leaves us in a pickle, because if you can't take my word for it, then all I am left with is using metaphors, analogies, examples, and neuroscientific facts to try to paint a picture that is plausible. If not believable, because belief is a very bad operating way of using the mind, at least so that the plausibility of this process and where it leads is a continuum that doesn't require any unwarranted leaps, because that's an unfair place to put people, in which to put people when it comes to this kind of information, I believe. I don't think it's even necessary anymore. I mean, I've been listening to Ram Dass as of late, and his guru Neem Karoli Baba, fascinating guy, apparently could do miracles and the rest of it. But the methods by which they went were so obscure that you'd have to be a very wacky pioneer to subject yourself to this kind of process without knowing anything about it or where it led. I don't think that's necessary anymore. Those kind of pioneers like Ram Dass, they opened a trail that we can now traverse in a much safer and methodical and clear kind of way that is very clear and convincing to the thinking part of our mind, which always wants to be satisfied. It wants to be given a plausible reason to pursue these practices and these goals, right? So the essence of today's video is indeed this notion that we're missing out on life. How even though it is just a mental notion, and as such, it is not entirely correct and could make us miserable, like every concept that binds us makes us miserable. And at the same time is pointing towards an intuition in which life needs to be, that the fulfillment of life needs to be realized. That it is, of course, already the case, but unless that is consciously realized, something very magnificent and important, and perhaps the most important thing in our life is being missed out on. And why should that be the case now that all the information about it is available? And if on top of that you have a pull in this direction, then there's nothing to stop you from pursuing this. So that's the gist of today's video. Thanks for listening thus far, for those who did. Curious to hear what you make of the topic, and if you can relate to this sense, this feeling. If you believe that these videos can benefit others, then liking, sharing, and subscribing gives us a nice push for the channel. And I'll be back with more videos pretty soon. Cheerio. Bye-bye.